Hey guys, this is Ethan with Merlin Models, and we're doing a special video for our new brand, Pendragon Collection. We've got a Kickstarter coming up in the middle of March, and that is going to be for our museum quality display cases. These things are absolutely stupendous, and I wanted to take a short video and explain the assembly process because these come, as you see here, in a flat pack design. We designed it specifically this way so that you don't have to worry about the insane extra shipping cost that would come with shipping a case that is completely assembled, basically a massive box that's heavy and also just full of air. So everything is shipped nice and compact so that you can just easily assemble it at home yourself. There will be an instruction manual that goes with it, but I'll show you that it is very logical and it makes perfect sense. So let me just go over the components that we have for our cases. And just remember that this is a sample, so we don't have final materials for the glass. Everything else is basically a final material. We're just going to be going through and just making sure that quality checks are in order and stuff like that. But the glass that we're using is a hybrid optically clear acrylic here. So it's going to be more clear than your standard just off-the-shelf acrylic sheets. However, they told us that they had a anti-reflective coating that they could apply, but it turns out that it's not very anti-reflective. It's not what we want to see from an actual museum quality case. So what we're doing is we're actually going to a glass company. We're upgrading the acrylic to glass using the actual museum quality anti-reflective coating, which will diminish reflections to about 2 to 4%, which is absolutely insane. So we'll have a follow-up video as soon as that sample gets here, because we're getting it cut for this case. So we can actually do a direct comparison between regular acrylic, which we've got a couple of sheets for, this optically clear acrylic, and then what does museum glass actually look like in real life. Should be absolutely astounding. So this right here is our top. So the actual case parts are very light, which is good because the glass is going to be heavy. This is a light box. So that's all of it. Its function is going to be providing your downward light. Then the actual base itself has a neutral gray, 50% gray floor. This provides soft diffusion. We looked this up very scientifically when we were trying to decide what the perfect color combination is for most situations. And we found that if we made the entire thing black, while it increases contrast too much, and any figure that is dark or a statue that's dark or a miniature that's dark is not going to be represented with its full color tones, nice and bright. And you'll notice if you do a Google search on museum, specifically museum display cases, you will not find very many that are black, just because it does not work unless you have a white object inside. So 50-50 gray gives us the best of both worlds. It's a very neutral matte color, and it provides that soft bounce diffusion onto the character. We've also got these adjustable spotlights. You can spin these carefully, because they're just spring loaded into the bottom of the case, and then you can adjust them to fit what position that you want. So you can lean them this way, or you can tilt them up, depending upon the situation that you need. On the front of the case, you'll see that you've got 2 dimmer switches. So the first dimmer switch is going to control the top of the case. The second dimmer switch is going to control the spotlights. So you've got both options so that you can get the brightness level exactly matched to the mood and the ambiance that you want in your room. On the bottom of the case, you've got 4 holes. This is for the feet. You do not need to use the feet, so you could have your display case sitting flush, or you could also mount your display case on the wall, and we'll show you how that works later. But if you were setting it on its own, on a table or something like that, it does look really nice presented on by itself with the feet on, and that's why we wanted to include the feet. Because it really just depends upon the situation that you have. We want to give you as many options as possible for that. So those are the 2 bases. Then the back of the case is a matte black. So this will not reflect the light very well. It provides the exact amount of contrast that we're looking for with the case. So that's why we chose this material. On the back, it's going to be gloss black. We've got some holes for our power ports, and I'll show you the power ports here in a sec. And then we also have 2 mounting points for mounting these cases onto the wall. So included in your kit, you're going to get a bag of hardware. And one of the things that you're going to get are a set of hangers. So there's a lot of different hangers on the market. Some of them are good, some of them are not good, some of them are strong, some of them aren't strong. So what you're going to get in your case are 4 of these. This gets mounted to the back of the case. This gets mounted to the wall. And then all you've got to do is slide the 2 together, and it creates a very strong wall mount. And we made it to where the sides of the case and the back of the case have a little pocket. It's for all your cables to not press up against the wall, so that your case will mount flush, and then everything else that's on the back will be nice and hidden. So if we go back and talk about some power ports, on the back of your case, we're going to even this out a little bit better, but you've got 3 different power ports. Your first power port is going to be your power in. So this is your basic power source from the wall. Your second power port is going to supply power from the bottom of the case to the top of the case. So that's going to be completely hidden in that pocket. Included in the display case box, you're going to get an extension cord like this. And all you've got to do is plug it into the back. And then that's going to plug in to the top of your case, supplying power. This is the easiest way we found to supply power to both the top and the bottom. Keep it the flat pack design, and then also hide that wire. Because the materials, we're using 6mm thick material, which is about 1/4 of an inch thick. But that's not enough room to really hide the wire properly, and we don't want you to have to see the wire. So that's what that's for. The last power port is a DC power out. This is really cool feature and provides daisy chain opportunities so that you can take your case, set another case next to it, run a small extension cable, even smaller than this. You can buy little 6 inchers, little 3 inchers, whatever you want. You power one into your power port here, and the next one plugs in over there, and then you can just daisy chain the cases together. The power supply that's included in the case is going to be a standard 5 amp DC power supply for 12 volts. If you're going to power more than a few cases together, then you're going to want to upgrade that to a 10 amp, and we'll provide links that you can easily access this on Amazon. It's going to be cheaper for you to do it than it is for us to supply those as just an extra add-on. So we want you to be able to easily get them. But that's only in the specific case that you're powering a bunch of these lights together. You can probably power 3 just with this. So no worries there. And then of course we've got the actual glass material itself. Again, this is reflective. This is not anti-reflective. It is optically clear, which is nice. We've got a nice black screen printed surface that's going to cover the dimmers, just like this. This is a side piece. So that black will cover over your dimmers to make it a very nice and clean presentation. So let's go ahead and start putting one of these together. It's not very hard. You can do this by yourself. If you have somebody to help you, that could be ideal. So you're just going to take each one of your feet, and we're just going to screw these in together. We'll put some nice audio on here while I screw them in, and then we'll chat about each section as I build it. Okay, so now you've got your feet installed. The next step is going to be installing the back of the case. So we're just going to flip this on its side, just like that. We're going to take our back piece. We're just going to bring that close. Then we're just going to grab one of our screws. You've got 3 screws for the bottom and 3 screws for the top. So we're just going to install these. So when you're putting your screws on, it's important to make sure that you get it nice and snug, but you don't want to over tighten. Because again, you're working with a plastic. It's very strong plastic, and there is a metal insert inside. But if you put 20 pounds of pressure on your screw, you're going to break it. Okay, so we've got our 3 screws installed. I'm going to go ahead and set this upwards. Then we're going to take our first piece of glass. We're just going to set that on the side. And we're going to install these 3 screws. We're going to leave these screws loose. And that's to make sure that you can keep the case square once you get all the pieces applied. So we're just going to tighten it up just to where it's not going to fall apart. So it's still loose. You're going to see on the side here, you've got space. That's where all your cables are going to go. What we're going to end up doing on the real thing is we're going to cut a small notch on each side so that if you needed to run cables out to each other to do the daisy chain, there's an open space for that. And then there's also going to be a notch on the back right below this out port so that you can actually run your cable out to the ground if you need to. That way this can still sit nice and flush. The other addition that we're doing, which you will see on the actual glass when we get that new sample, is we're going to cover this with a black screen print as well so that it makes a really cool looking window. So those are just some additions that we're already adding. So let's grab our second piece, and we're going to do the same thing. Okay, so everything is just installed very loosely. Our next step is to add the top. And we want to make sure that your DC port is facing the back. And then we'll just follow the exact same procedure to add our screws. Okay, so we've got our case. At this point, it's a good idea to go through and you can use, we've got this Brilliance cleaner to go ahead and clean the material. Plastic, acrylic is going to pick up fingerprints a lot worse than glass will, but both of them do pick up a little bit, kind of regardless of what filters you put on. So we're just going to go ahead and clean. Okay, so we've got a nice clean surface. Now we're going to grab our front face. The front face has that black surface on the front, and what that does is it hides some nice strong neodymium magnets that are on the back. All you've got to do is line it up and drop it into place, and there you go. And now it's a very clean surface. You don't see any hardware, you don't see your dimmers, because once you set your dimmer brightness, you don't have to set that dimmer brightness again, which is really neat. And we'll show you some different ways to turn your case on and off towards the end of the video. But now that you've got this in place, what we're going to do is we're going to set the squareness of the case itself and just make sure that we're all lined up. And then we're going to go ahead and tighten up these screws. We are all lined up. So now, of course, we want to get rid of all these screws because that looks pretty nasty. So for the sample, they just included some like generic covers. We're actually going to make sure that we have a custom cover made that actually fits the exact screws that we're going to use. So for the meantime, I'm just using some sticky putty to put the screw caps on. But the real thing will have screw caps that match the actual opening of each of the screws. But you're just gonna have to press these on. Super easy. Make sure that if you do want to use even more additional sticky tack, you make sure that it's not visible. So you can see, nice clean surface. And again, that's gonna look extra clean once we get that extra black strip right there. So it's a very nice and clean look. What we need to do now is make sure that our front face is clean. And then from here on out, you wanna make sure that you only touch your front face where the screen printed material is. So if we pop this off, we're just going to grab it with that screen printed material, hold it on the edges, make it nice and clean. One of the extra added benefits of glass is that it does not have any type of static charge. With this material, you have to add a special coating to make it non-static, because acrylic is naturally very dust attractive. So that extra glass is going to make a huge difference in basically every aspect of the build itself. I think the only drawback is that it's heavier. So it's going to cost more in shipping, but it's completely worth it, you know, because it is the real deal. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll take our Hot Toys Mando figure. We'll go ahead and put him inside. So let's just set him right here. Okay. And then we'll close up our case. There we go. So we got our object inside. Next, we'll take our small extension power cord, plug that up into the top, and then we're going to go ahead and take our power supply and we'll plug that guy in. And I'm going to use something that I think would be really nice benefit to these cases, and that is a smart plug. So a smart plug gives us the ability to plug this guy in to your wall socket and control it from your phone or your Alexa or whatever you want. So I'm going to grab my phone, which is on the counter. I'll have Justin grab that for me. Thank you, sir. And we'll go ahead and turn this on. Okay. Then all we've got to do is pop our top off. And let there be light. So I'm just going to leave it like that. Of course, if I was in front, I would be able to more easily see what's going on. But there you have it. A beautiful case. You can adjust all of the different lighting angles that you want. Again, I'm super excited. Again, I'm hoping next week, but it's probably going to be 2 weeks. Once we get that new glass in, all of these reflections that you see are going to go away. Like you can see a reflection of him on the glass on the sides. That's going to go away. Any type of reflection from the surrounding lights or the rest of this room, all that's just going to disappear. And it's going to be like you don't even have glass there to begin with. It's going to be so cool. Then with your smart plug, all you got to do is click a switch and turn it off. So you never have to mess with those dimmers once you get it lit up. But as you move it around and you say, okay, I like it this way or I like it that way, pop your top off, set your dimmer switches, and then just turn it on and off with ease. Super, super simple. So this is our case. So again, we're launching in the middle of March is the expected time. We're going to have pricing information as soon as physically possible. I'm hoping within this week or early next week is when we're going to get the final pricing. So look for that. We'll have an update to the catalog as well as some links to go ahead and join the Kickstarter campaign notification. So that will not be a spam link. That's going to be a link that you will only get pricing information and the date of the launch. And then when we launch, we'll say, hey, we're live. Come check it out. That's all that's used for. So you can go ahead and go on to pendragoncollection.com and you can sign up. You can also look at all the different versions that we have of these cases. We've got 6-inch cases that are made to go on the wall. We've got 12-inch cases that start from 18 inches all the way up to 32 inches. And then we also have 18-inch cases that go from 18 inches to 32 inches. Then we have 2 wide cases that are 32 by 32 by 18 and 12. So a wide variety. You can see lots of different renders of what different objects look like in there on our Pendragon page. So please follow it, check it out, and then join the Merlin Models and Pendragon Collection YouTube channel because there's going to be so much more information coming out over the next year. This is just the first product that we're working on because we felt like this was a huge need in the industry. And what's coming up next is going to be some really, really high-end original collectibles. It's going to be very, very exciting. We really look forward to having you guys as part of the community, and we'll catch you on the next video. Thanks. Bye.